So you want to make $10,000 a month. You see all those guys on Instagram and on TikTok constantly showing you just how amazing their lives are. Maybe you even look at my posts on Instagram and you wonder how you can obtain the same sort of life. Luckily for you, I've done all of the work, because in this video I'm going to share with you the full step-by-step guide to show you exactly how you can get to $10,000 a month in 2023. And even if you're watching this video years later, 2024, 2026, hell who knows, 2028, the advice I'm going to share with you in just a second will still be applicable to you. Step 1. You want to figure out what is your why, the reason behind why you do things. Because if there is one thing that I can guarantee right now, it's that if your only reason for making money it is to flex, to buy a Ferrari, that might be able to get you to a certain point. However, let's be honest, how far will this shallow motivation really get you? And trust me, because I'm not like one of those people who is going to try to shame you for wanting to experience nice things, even luxury. I think it's completely fine. And if anything, the people who say, oh, you shouldn't want to have a nice car, you shouldn't want to drive a Ferrari or to stay in the best hotels in the world, I think that those people are just kidding themselves. They don't have access to those things, so they don't want you to have access to those things either. Believe it or not, but most people don't want to see you do better than them. You know the saying, right? They want to see you do well, but never better than them. The reason why you need a powerful why is because the amount of time, hard work, and sacrifice needed to become successful, to make $10,000 a month or more, if that's what you want, it's not going to be worth it to you. If you have a shallow why, you might put in the work for a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple months if you're really motivated, but the truth is you'll have to face many difficulties, many obstacles, many challenges on your path to wealth. And there's a reason why most people never even get to 6 figures a year, because that road, it is tough, let me tell you that. And most people are going to quit along the way. A lot of people seem to think that the reason why they fail is because they lack the intelligence, the knowledge, or the skills. But in reality, the reason that single-handedly destroys most people's dreams is that their why is very shaky. Think of it like you're building a house. If you have shaky foundations, even if you build a magnificent house on top, everything is just going to fall apart. Now, it's completely fine if you want to experience materialistic things, like maybe you want to drive a Bentley, maybe you want to stay in 5-star hotels, take your parents and your family to the best restaurants in the city, and there's simply nothing wrong with that. However, from my own experience, you also want to make sure that you include deep reasons as to why you do things. And to give you an example, a deep why could be retiring your parents, buying a house with your partner, providing great education to your kids. So you see, the common thing between all of those examples is that it's always about just more than you. Because let's say one day you're tired, you're not motivated, you don't want to do the work, maybe you're a bit sick, and so it would be easy to think, oh, you know what, I've earned it. Today I'm just going to rest and do a whole bunch of nothing, I'm going to play video games, to watch Netflix. But when you have a deep why, when it involves more than just you, like I said, it could be doing this because you want to be wealthy so that you can provide a great life to your future family. You'll just think of that reason. You'll remember why you're doing things in the first place. And what I've found is that most of the time, it's actually going to help you to push yourself so much more than you would have if you simply had materialistic goals. Because at the end of the day, a Ferrari is great. Trust me, I love cars. And in fact, I sat behind the steering wheel of my first Ferrari at only 20 years old. And that was a seriously magical experience. However, no matter how much you love cars, is it really going to be enough to make you fulfilled or happy? That's one thing I've realized. Luxury is fantastic, but you need more than that to be fulfilled. Step 2 is to keep learning, but then to massively apply what you learn. You don't want to just mindlessly consume content, whether that be videos like this one, books, or even online courses, because what you're doing essentially is that you're tricking yourself into thinking that you're being productive. That's what plenty of people do. They just consume endlessly, and they might learn a lot, but because they never take action on what they learn, what's the point really? That's the thing I've always hated with the traditional school system. They make you learn a whole bunch of stuff that, let's face it, 99.9% of us will not utilize in our adult life, and that's basically it. You learn some stuff by heart for a test, you recite it, you forget it, and then boom, it's pointless. So don't make the same mistake in your old professional or personal life. Now, I'm not saying by any means that you should not consume any kind of content, books, online courses, or videos, because if I got to where I am today, if I was able to live this kind of life and to build a thriving online business, it was only because I had the right knowledge and then I applied it consistently over weeks, over months, and over years. Because unlike what you see on social media, nobody becomes a millionaire in just 90 days unless they had massive luck or very helpful circumstances, believe me. So if you do consume content, even like this video, if you read books, you follow online courses, have a pen and a notepad, or use some app like Notion and just take some notes. Write down the key points that you'll need to apply later on. Because consuming just for the sake of consuming, learning just for the sake of learning, there isn't really much point. You're not even going to remember most of the stuff that you hear or that you read. So be honest with yourself. If you're not actively participating in the learning experience, you're just entertaining yourself. You're not actually learning. Step 3. You need to start your own online business. Now, if you want to make $10,000 a month or even more than that, for most people what I've found found is that the sweet spot is between $10,000 a month and $100,000 a month. Well, let me tell you one thing. The easiest way and the fastest way to reach that level, 10K to 100K per month, it is not to become a doctor, to become a musician, or to try to become famous, to try to become an athlete. It is to start your own online business. With a job to get to 6 figures a year, first you would need to have very specific careers, which require you to study very hard, insanely hard in fact, for years on end, sometimes even decades. Just think about the doctors, the surgeons, the lawyers, and you might make 6 figures a year at some point, but that would only ever be possible after slowly climbing up the corporate ladder. You have to understand that most employees never get to 6 figures a year. So if you start your own online business, technically speaking, statistically speaking, you're a lot more likely to at least be able to reach that level. Now, am I saying that it's easier, that anyone can do it? I don't necessarily think that's the case. However, is it worth it? And if you're willing to put in the work, is it possible? Absolutely yes. A business offers you what a job does not: leverage. And ask any successful person, leverage is exactly what helped them to get to the level that they are today. Without leverage, you need to understand that it's literally impossible to make millions of dollars. Just think about Jeff Bezos. If he had to pack every single order and then ship it out to customers individually, he would not be running a billion-dollar empire, believe me. And also, successful people are just humble enough to realize that there are some people who do things far better than they ever could. To give you an example, if I hire someone to do my thumbnails, obviously that person is going to do them way better than I ever could. And the reason being, that is what they do all day, every day. I can't be making thumbnails all day, every day. So their skill set compared to mine is going to be significantly higher. And so therefore, by hiring somebody to make my thumbnails for me, I am benefiting from that person's expertise. I'm leveraging their skills. Because plenty of people speak of hard work, working long hours, but nobody is really speaking of what actually matters, which is leverage. Because let me tell you one thing right now. There are plenty of people from all over the world. They make more money than you and they work like 10 times less. They're not working harder, they're not smarter, they're not more talented, they simply have more leverage. And the best way I can illustrate this is that if you work at McDonald's for 12 hours a day, would you say that's hard work? Of course it is. You're sweating, you're responding to angry customers, you have to make a lot of food quickly, as fast as possible. You don't really get any rest. I've known people who worked in that job and they told me it was absolute hell, and a lot of them, they quit really fast. But you could be doing that 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, you would never make $1 million because you're paid per hour of your time. And not only that, but you are paid for a skill that they can take anyone off the street and teach them how to make burgers in a couple hours. I mean, the only reason why a lawyer is being paid more than the average fast food employee is because you can't just pick somebody in the street and turn them into a great lawyer, especially in just a couple hours. But the lawyer too is going to hit a ceiling pretty quickly when it comes to how much money he can make. And let's keep in mind that with traditional jobs and careers, not everyone will be granted the same opportunities. Because if you're a lawyer in New York, you could make millions of dollars after slave-like hours, slowly climbing the corporate ladder for decades on end. That is completely true. But let's be honest, if you're a lawyer in a small city in India, how much money are you really going to be able to make? Will you get to the same level that the lawyer in New York will? Of course not. That's why the internet is the great equalizer, because pretty much anyone anywhere in the world, with some differences of course, some people might have more difficulties than others, but pretty much anybody can actually reach that 10K a month mark. Step 4 is to start a service-based business as opposed to a product-based business. The reason why is because your margins when you begin are so much higher with a service-based business as opposed to a product-based business. Let's take a popular business, dropshipping, as an example. If you started a dropshipping business today, you would need to at least spend $5,000, $10,000 to really make it worthwhile. So that's a lot of money that you would need to come up with up front. In my experience, most people don't have that, especially as beginners. And if you think that, oh, I'm just lying because dropshipping is this easy business model, let me ask you a question. Do you really think it's 2015 anymore? Do you really think that people are still willing to pay for overpriced Wish or AliExpress products just because you've got a pretty website and an email to answer customer support questions? Of course not. And you might see those guys making videos on YouTube and on social media claiming that they made X amount of money with dropshipping, and fair enough, some of them do. But this is also what we call the survivorship bias. You'll only see the ones who succeeded anyway. You won't see the thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who started a dropshipping store and lost everything. It is not a viable business model for beginners, trust me. And also, if you're going to sell a product, most likely you're not going to sell something for at least $1,000, right? So this means that to get to $10,000 a month, you would need to convince every month hundreds, if not thousands of people to buy your products. And trust me, it's a lot harder than it looks. On social media, everything looks easy, but selling products is not that easy. However, with a service-based business, you are providing valuable services that are needed by people. So this means that you can charge more for that. So with only a couple customers, you could make $10,000 a month. And that is a big difference, because if you do things correctly, you can sign a customer and they won't only pay you for 1 month, but you sign them, for instance, on a 3-month term, meaning for 3 months they will be your client and they will pay you a fee each month for 3 months. So you won't need to convince as many people as you would with selling a product. And then the other criteria, when thinking of which business to start, you need to start a business in which the worst case scenario is that you don't even lose that much money at all, in fact. For instance, if you start a service-based business, let's say you're going to provide lead generation services to e-commerce brands in the fitness niche. What's the worst case scenario if you don't sign a customer for 6 or 12 months? That's the question that you need to ask yourself before you start any kind of business. The worst case scenario in that example would be that maybe you spent $50 on an email and a domain name. Now, if you started a dropshipping website on the other hand, you'd lose money on the website, on the ads, on the products, paying influencers, for instance, to promote your products. So that goes to show you there is a lot more to business than you would think. A lot of people, they're just going to see a video and think, oh, dropshipping looks so cool, and they're going to just jump headfirst into it. But that is not how business people think. That is not thinking like a CEO. That is just following the crowd and doing what everyone else is doing. And if you do what everybody else is doing, you'll never become successful. It's the innovators who make the most money. Now, like I said, if you're a beginner, you don't know which business to start, I have recorded a free video in which I'm going to analyze every popular online business model. Together, we'll take a look at the pros and the cons, and I'm also going to share with you for completely free the 3-step process that you can start implementing literally today to start your business and to get your first customers as quickly as possible. The link is in the description below. Step 5. You need to understand that your personal problems will reflect back in your business, so you need to fix them as quickly as possible. One day, a business mentor of mine told me that I would never achieve my goals as long as I stayed who I was. And so that might be a bit confusing at first. I'll never achieve my goals if I stay as I am. Do I need to become a completely different person then? Of course not. However, you'll need to evolve into a better version of yourself. To give you an example, if you're undisciplined, you can't focus because you're always on social media, on TikTok, or on way worse websites. Obviously, I'm sure you can see how this is going to affect your business negatively. And to give you a personal example, I procrastinated starting the business that changed my life for more than 7 months. Why? Because it was a reflection of my own personal issues. I was so afraid of getting out there, of getting rejected, that I just put off starting my business for more than 7 months. I was afraid of sales calls like the plague. But then one day I was just sick and tired of this. I've always had big goals, big dreams, big ambitions, and I knew, come on, the successful people that I see, they don't let their emotions, their fears rule them, dictate them, tell them what to do. So I knew I had to fix that. And one day when I finally had enough, I started to slowly, gradually, day after day, push myself out of my comfort zone. Anytime I would feel some fear, I'd be scared to do something, I'd just force myself to do it. Because I knew if I could get into the habit of doing what I was afraid to do, then I would literally become unstoppable. And that's probably the best advice I can give you. If you're scared to do something, your fears are holding you back, preventing you from getting started, from doing what you want. Make it a challenge, make it a game to overcome them. Because honestly, 99.9% of the time, you are going to face a fear and you will just feel so proud of yourself. And the worst part is that you realize it wasn't that scary actually. We are more often hurt in our imagination than we are in reality. Really understand that. Step 6, you need to eliminate all the noise and all the distractions for a while. I'll be honest with you, there have never been such opportunities to build crazy wealth like today. And most people, they're not going to act on them. But you know what? I say it doesn't matter, because if you take action, you'll get ahead of 99% of people. But at the same time, if I'm being completely honest, it's never been just as difficult to win. And the reason why is because of all the instant gratification that we have today. It's literally easy access, and all of the distractions, social media, even YouTube to some degree, dirty websites. A lot of people are addicted to those. Video games, watching Netflix, junk food, sugar, all of those things that won't help you to reach your goals in any way. And it's very easy to overindulge on any of these things. And if you do, it's going to drastically reduce the quality of your life. And the truth is, when you are an ambitious individual, your goals, because they're so high, they will require so much hard work, so much sacrifice, that you really need to roll up your sleeves. And like I said, you need to have a strong why you're doing things. Otherwise, you'll get wiped out, because somebody with a deeper drive than you is gonna do whatever it takes, and he's not gonna stop. Whereas you'll stop because you have a weak motivation. And let's take an example. Let's take 2 business owners. One is addicted to instant gratification. He's always checking his phone, looking at social media. He has TikTok on his phone. He's always opening up those dirty websites to do his thing, you know? He watches 3 hours of TV or of Netflix, or he plays video games for 3 hours a day. And then there's another entrepreneur. He's focused. He doesn't do any of that crap. He just works relentlessly on his craft, and when he's not working, he's at the gym, he's at the sauna, he's meditating, he's reading, he's taking care of himself, of his body, of his mind, he's resting. Which one do you think is going to be more successful? You'd be a fool to think that there wouldn't be a difference. Like, you know, when you start a business, so many people are going to throw the statistic at you that 9 out of 10 startups fail, as if that meant anything. In reality, the thing that you really need to understand is that it's not 9 out of 10 businesses fail, it's 9 out of 10 people fail. Because who runs the business? Well, people. And when people say that, they just assume that it's like just blind luck. You either get lucky or you don't. But the world does not work like that. Now, I'll agree, there is such a thing as luck. I know that in this business space, in this hustle culture space, plenty of people are going to try to claim that there is no such thing as luck. But then, if there was really no such thing as luck, how come some people are just taller, more attractive, they have better genetics? How come some people are born rich and some are born poor? So there is indeed such a thing as luck. But something which is also true is that the more you work, the harder you work, and consistently over a long period of time, at some point you make your own goddamn luck. It would be completely unreasonable for you to not succeed, to not get good at what you do after having done it for months and years. Look at anyone who's been making videos consistently for 5, 8, 10 years on YouTube. Most of them have over 1 million subscribers, but most people are never going to put 10 years of hard focus into something, so they'll never get there. So if you have big goals, big ambitions, and I'm sure you do since you're still watching this video, and you're not like most people who just clicked off to go watch some BS and play some video games, because you know, they say that they want to be rich, they say that they want to be successful, but they're clearly not willing to do the work. At the end of the day, what you say doesn't matter. It's your actions, your daily routine that matters. Show me what your day looks like. Show me what the week in your life looks like, and I'll clearly tell you what your future is going to look like. And I bet I'll be pretty damn accurate 99% of the time, because success is found in your daily routine, in what you do repeatedly over a long period of time. Success doesn't happen overnight. That's what we only see in movies. And the other thing that you need to understand is that the shorter the time frame, the harder the intensity. If you want to achieve your goals faster, you'll need to put more intensity, to do more, to provide more force. It's kind of like if you're running. If you're trying to do a 5K, if you want to get to your destination faster, then you just need to run faster. There is no other way around it. In business, it's the same thing. If you want to get more clients sooner, you'll need to reach out to more people than your competition. If you want to build a YouTube channel to get 1 million followers fast, you'll need to publish more than somebody who doesn't really care. So for a little while, you want to shut down all the noise, all the distractions. And if you don't know what is distracting you, I invite you to take a pen, you take a notebook, you make a column, you divide it in two, and on one side you've got positives, and on the other side, distractions. For instance, social media, distraction. Going to the gym, positive. Watching Netflix, distraction. Reading books on finances and on fitness or on this topic that you're interested in, positive. And then you'll see all the things which are in your distraction column. You want to get rid of those for a specific period of time. Step 7, you need to go the extra mile. If you're trying to achieve more than 99% of people, you'll have to simply do more than 99% of people. And in fact, it's not even just do more than 99% of people. You'll have to do what most people are simply not willing to do, to dirty your hands. Because let's face it, everyone loves the idea of being successful, of making millions of dollars. But how many are actually willing to sit down every day for months, for years, and do the boring work? Very few. Same thing. How many people want to have visible abs, great bodies, but how many people actually do something about it? You know, one day I've realized this thing. I've realized that wanting great things did not make me special in any way, because we all want the best things, trust me. We all want to have more money, to be more free, to have better experiences, to be more happy, to have a loving and caring partner, or some people, they just want to get laid, fair. But we all want the best things in life. What makes you special, however, it's going after those things, working hard every day, even when you don't feel like it. In fact, it's when you need to work the most. It's when you would much rather be doing something else. So let's be honest with yourself. How bad do you want it? Step 9, celebrate the small wins on your journey. Build up the winner effect. The thing that you need to understand is that, unlike what you see on social media, you're probably not going to see instant, immediate results on your journey. And that is especially true if you are going about this all alone. At Consulting Fastlane, which is our program, our community, where we help consultants and agencies to scale their businesses to 6 figures a year, we take complete beginners and we turn them into business masters as quickly as possible. And the reason why they're able to get fast results, at least faster than other people, is because they have a roadmap laid ahead in front of them. So all they need to do is to follow the steps and to work. Now, studies have shown that people who focused on the journey, on enjoying the daily process, they actually got a lot more successful in the end than people who just were obsessed about the end goal. At some point on social media, there was this trend to have a vision board, to repeat affirmations, to manifest what you wanted in a way. But truthfully, if you really know what you want, you don't necessarily need to look at a picture every day showing you what your entire life would look like in the future if you achieve it. And if anything, that can be more detrimental than you think. Because like I said, people who solely obsessed on the end goal, people who hated the process, they dragged their feet throughout the entire time. What happens to those people? They give up. And that is why they never become successful. You can see people going to the gym. The people who quit, it's those who do not like the sport. They just can't stick to it. So instead of focusing on the big goals, focus on what you need to do to reach those goals, to make those things happen anyway. Because that will give you more results than anything else. If you enjoy the process, you'll do it forever. And then you'll eventually become successful, because that is what you need, consistency over months and over years. And there is simply no way to stick at something for years, especially if you hate it, if you completely despise it. Delegate, hire, and don't obsess over profit margins. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather have 90% of $100 or 1% of $1 billion? You know what? Let me know in the comments. But you don't even need to do the math to realize that, hey, 1% 1% of $1 billion is a much better deal. You don't want to get stuck in the solopreneur mentality because that will kill your business completely. First, you can't be doing everything yourself. You only have 24 hours in a day and you can't spend all of them working. You need to take care of your body, of your mind, you need to sleep, you need to spend time with your family, with your friends, you need to have your hobbies. You can't just be working all the time. And if you get sick, what happens? You can't work. And I already gave you the example with the thumbnails, but if I hire somebody to make my thumbnails, they'll do it so much better than I ever could, because like I said, they spend their whole days editing thumbnails, whereas I couldn't spend my whole days just making thumbnails, so of course that person's skill set will be much better than mine. So as soon as you can, as soon as you start to make money, delegate and hire, because what's the point of making $10,000 a month if you are a slave to your business? You work 12 hours a day and you have no freedom. It's nice to make money, but what matters more is freedom, because if you make all the money in the world but you can't even spend it because you have no time to actually enjoy it, what's the point? Extraordinary efforts equals extraordinary results. Weak efforts equals weak results. Now, I didn't come up with that quote. One day I simply read it in a book, and it's not like it's something revolutionary. I'm sure you know that. Everyone knows that. But that day, for whatever reason, I read that quote in this book. It stuck with me. I think it's easy to find many excuses as to why we don't have the things that we want to have in life, as to why we're not in the position that we want to be in. It's easy to blame things outside of ourselves, to think that we're just a victim, that life hates us. But really, how is this mindset benefiting you? It's not. We've talked about this in this video already, but most people want the millions, the crazy lives, the mansions, the Ferraris, the freedom, but they're simply not willing to put in the work. You can go look on TikTok, on the luxury lifestyle videos, look at the comments. Most people there are saying things like, I'm gonna have this type of life, I'm gonna buy this type of car. I'll tell you one thing, most of them, they'll never have this type of life. And the reason why is not because of a lack of intelligence, of skills, of talents, of connections. It's a lack of discipline. It's a lack of work. And the only way you'll have a strong discipline and a strong work ethic is if you have a very deep reason why you do things, why you get out of bed every morning. I like to say that if you don't have a strong reason to get out of bed every morning, then you should just stay in bed maybe. Now, if you follow the 10 steps we have just covered, your chances of making it, of getting to $10,000 a month are much higher than literally anyone else, because you've got access to key information right there, and you don't know what you don't know. Knowledge coupled with ruthless implementation is the key to success. Throw consistency in the mix, and yeah, like I said, you're guaranteed to succeed at some point. It might take you 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, but you will become successful, and you will make a lot more than $10,000 a month anyway. Now, like I said, if you want to start your own online business, but you don't know where to start, the link to the free video analyzing every popular online business model is in the description below.